Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and my name is... Oh crap, I didn't rehearse this. Random white quarterback. Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is John Kitna. Let's get started. As you can see, I have decorated my background with a few teams that I think best represent my fandom. Really what I wanted to do was make a video sort of super chill, just take a topic and kind of give you my take on it. Super chill Saturday commentary, hence the title and the thumbnail of this video. So why am I talking about my favorite sports teams? Maybe not so much Arkansas, but I did really like the Darren McFadden jersey and the Arkansas teams during that time period. But these two are really good representations of the teams that I like and enjoy and watch and follow, as is the hoodie I'm wearing, Minnesota Wild for the NHL. I've lived in one state my entire life, and I've always been interested in sports. I haven't always been a Vikings fan and a Red Sox fan and a fan of, some of the other teams that I've collected over the years. Believe it or not, I actually started out as a Steelers fan. You don't believe me. You don't believe, you know what? I'll prove it to you. You just wait right here. See? Still got it. Wore this in school. Actually, this is actually my fiance's, but I had the same years ago. Okay, so anyway, little bit of a background on me. Started out as a Steelers fan, started out as a Cleveland Indians fan. I live in a dual market in an area that is wedged right in between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. About an hour in that direction, I end up in Cleveland. About an hour in that direction, I'm in Pittsburgh. So I've lived in dual market my entire life. Growing up, I was a Steelers fan. I watched all the games, had the jerseys, had the paraphernalia. But there was a point later on in my life where I decided, maybe this constant rivalry and bickering back and forth, wedged in between two cities that really can't stand each other, is not the kind of life that I want to live as a sports fan. So I decided to make a change. The change that I made wasn't really something that just came about where I threw a dart at the wall and that whatever team it landed on, that was the team I was going to pick. It was the playoff game. With Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter. I think it was sometime in the mid to late 90s. I just happened to see the Vikings on TV, and I thought, you know what? That's cool. Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter, purple jerseys. I like the color purple. Let's go. Give me some of that. So when it comes to the Red Sox, it was a little bit more difficult than that. My favorite player growing up as a baseball fan was Manny Ramirez. And then the year came that the Cleveland Indians decided that they were not going to retain this all-star roster that they had been trying to use to win a World Series for the first time in, X amount of years. And they decided to let Manny Ramirez go, and he walked in free agency. It was at that point that I decided, you know what, I'm a fan of Manny Ramirez. I will follow him wherever he goes. So Manny Ramirez signs with the Boston Red Sox. And that made it pretty easy because I already hated the New York Yankees. So I was like, man, this is a match made in heaven. So that's been my team ever since, and I've grown to, have other favorites on the Red Sox organization. Dustin Pedroia, Mookie Betts, who is no longer with us. I'm sad about it. Jonathan Papelbon is another one. So as you can see, you don't have to root for the teams where you grew up or where you live. It is not a requirement to be a sports fan in this world. And the reason I bring this up is because years and years ago, I got into a sort of social media beef with a radio personality who I've never heard of, but he decided to make this off-the-cuff remark on his social media platform saying something along the lines of, you can't be a fan of a team if you don't live nearby or in that state. And I'm paraphrasing, of course. And of course, that logic to me was immediately wiped out just by the sheer fact that we have tons of people who live in states where there are no pro teams that exist. So this guy was like, oh, you live in Ohio, you have to root for the Browns or you have to root for the Bengals. And I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. And he did not take that too well. And here's the thing, how many people live in North Dakota who are fans of the Green Bay Packers or the Minnesota Vikings? How many people live in Alaska that are fans of Seattle Seahawks? Just to name a few examples. You can't tell somebody that lives in Idaho that they can't be an NFL fan because they don't have a team in the state. That's ridiculous. It just the point is, for a weekend chill sort of conversation is, you don't have to explain yourself why you root for who you root for. I'm a Vikings fan, first and foremost. I also root for the Buffalo Bills. That's another story. about why I support that team. And I'm also a fan of the sport in general. And I think that that's a good point of departure for anybody to really sort of sit back and to take themselves into consideration on how they are a fan of sports or just a fan of a team. You know, there's a big difference between like casual over here and let's say hardcore fan over here who follows just about everything there is to follow. I'm probably in this category, but at the same time, I'm still like a fan of the league and a fan of the sport, especially when it comes to the four major ones like baseball, basketball, hockey, and college football. I did not leave basketball out by accident. Not a big fan. So always keep in mind that, you know, there's going to be people from different cities, different states, rooting for a whole bunch of different teams. And I think it's great when I see Vikings fans in Ohio, and it makes me feel like I'm not isolated and alone. The hardest part about being a sports fan of a team that is far away and not in a state where you live is you don't get local access. You don't get the kind of media coverage that somebody living in Cleveland who is a Browns fan is going to get 24/7. You have to sort of go out of your way to get that kind of coverage and access to your team. And that's the hard part. But it's a challenging part that I've been willing to accept for a number of years, and it's yielded some interesting results in terms that I've discovered interesting, you know, beat reporters, not just for my team, but throughout the country, and some interesting fan bases and online presences. So it's actually been a pretty wild ride. Would I ever go back to being a fan of a team in Ohio? Nah. All right, guys, so that's pretty much going to do it for first ever edition of Saturday Chill Commentary. This was just something fun, off the wall, you know, change it up a little bit, don't have to be serious, and I get to make some fun edit cuts. So I hope you all enjoy your Easter holiday weekend. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.